G'day everyone, my name's Sam and this is Undesigned. Recently I've been seeing a fair bit of conversation around the Google logo. This particular issue seems to rear its head every few months since their rebrand in 2015. And what seems to get everybody talking is the idiosyncrasies in the proportions of Google's logo in particular, though this also extends to many other facets of the Google ecosystem. Using their G symbol as an example, I'll explain some of the really common issues that people keep bringing up. Google's logo on the surface looks like a G cut out of a perfect geometric circle. It's got a consistent weight going around the circle, it's got consistent spacing between the elements of the G, and it's got some very hard, very defined lines of primary blocks of colour. It's been clearly designed to be simple, clear, instantly readable, and a geometric symbol. Now I say on the surface because on closer inspection there are a lot of imperfections in the actual shape. Firstly, it's not a perfect circle at all. The horizontal part of the G is pulled in toward the centre a little bit, which then leaves the overhang kind of jutting out a bit from the edge. It doesn't line up perfectly. Secondly, the angle of the overhang doesn't even align with the angles where the colours meet the way it looks like it does, or the way it looks like it should. And thirdly, its stroke actually varies in width around the G as it goes around. Not by much, but measurably so. Now, a lot of people seem to interpret this kind of idiosyncratic design as sloppy or senseless or not well thought out, but I would argue the exact opposite. Just by the nature of the software used to design this kind of thing, creating a perfect circle is an instant process. You just click and drag from one corner to the other, instant circle, done. So the Google team would need to go very specifically out of their way to create a circle as imperfect as the Google G is. Now, one thing I always try to remind my non-design literate friends is that good design is always intentional. Every specific element of a design is put there for a specific reason, to elicit a specific response and to help the whole sum is greater than the sum of its shit. Every element of a good design is the result of a specific process and sequence of decisions that led to it being there. Driven by the intention of the designer to communicate a very specific message that they're going for. Now, the primary reason I think Google has made these decisions is to seem human and relatable and approachable. Google aren't setting out to be a fashionable status symbol like Apple, and they're not setting out to be a technological corporate powerhouse like Microsoft. Google's primary direction in their designs is to feel welcoming and personable. A good way to understand Google's reasoning for this human direction is to look at some of their other brands. Google Search most obviously has become the nexus of all human curiosity and knowledge, where anyone with a question can ask Google and Google will tell them. YouTube is a platform for human creators to create entertaining experience for their mutually human audiences. Google Hangouts is a platform that allows groups of humans to communicate face to face and in real time, no matter where they are in the world at all. Are you noticing a pattern there in the words? I said human a lot. No. Now, what I'm putting forward is that all these inconsistencies in the Google design exist to make it more human. Like it's been made by a human, fraught with inconsistencies and human error and oversights, and not based on perfect mathematics, but based on emotion. Now, with a higher level designy stuff kind of out of the way, there's also another very good reason why they might have designed their logo in this way. Now, very often there is a very significant difference between what is mathematically perfect and what is optically perfect. What looks perfect to the eye, but isn't necessarily, in terms of the mathematics, perfectly in line. What I'm going to try to do to demonstrate this is to center a triangle within a rectangle or within a circle to try to demonstrate this. This is another technique that Google have used in the YouTube logo. Okay, so just a quick example just to show you where the mathematical center of a triangle actually lies. If I select these two objects and I center them by horizontal and vertical, you can see that the mark in the middle isn't really in the middle at all. It's kind of toward the narrow end by the looks of it. It looks like it should be more around here, right? Now, the reason for this is that optically the left side of this triangle has a bit more weight, is a bit heavier than the right side. It works kind of like actual physical weight. This side's heavier, it's got more volume to it. This side doesn't, it's smaller. So you want to put the mark right in the middle between where the heaviest is and where the lightest is, rather than just mathematically in the center. Now, how this works practically when you're actually aligning things is that if something is mathematically in the center of an object, it might look like it's a little left-leaning because the heavier side is more toward the left and the shallower side is more toward the right. So the way I would center this is I would bring it a little more that way maybe. So if you zoom out a bit, yeah, that looks a little more like it's actually centered, even though mathematically it really isn't. So to wrap up, just because a design seems like it might be slightly out of place, or something might not be quite aligned the way that it looks like it should, That doesn't mean anything about the skill of the designer or the team of designers that have made it. Now, good design always has very specific intentions and everything has a reason for being. So the next time you hear someone talking about how a logo doesn't line up and how the designer got it wrong and stuffed it up, maybe help them reflect a little deeper on why the designer might have made those choices. I don't know how to end videos. It's me, Sam, bye.